to Flag Commission for July 10th, 2024. Present. As usual.
Amen.
The next item is our consent agenda. I want to make sure that we've read over the motion that went to the council on that one. So there's no other business.
I was listening online and I was impressed.
So if there's no other discussion, I would entertain a motion. So I'm making that motion. Second. Second, Commissioner Fingerhoff, all in favor? Yes. Yes. Okay, next item is item 4. This is a public forum, so this is for anything that's not on the agenda. An agenda item, we'll get to those here shortly. There's something that's not on the agenda you'd like to talk about. We'll no public comment. We're going to move on to our review items. We'll do a little bit of change here. We'll do item 5.2 first. This is a public hearing request by Manuel Munoz to apply for the IO infill overlay zone for the county parcel. Approximately 44 acres north of the R175 zone. This would allow for a frontage for lot subdivision.
Chair, I would ask for a motion to take the agenda out of order.
Yes.
Yep.
Michael has a presentation.
This agenda item has evolved even as of today. So I will give you the information based off in the staff report and staff recommendation, and then we'll give you the new information that we've had today, and we can discuss and have the public hearing and whatnot. So to give you some perspective, just on the property. Hopefully you can see that okay there. So this is 200 north and in the midpoint of 800 east. So 800 east here, this is 200 north here. The property so the applicant is requesting to do a 2-lot subdivision, but they don't have the proper frontage on the public street. So in order to get the frontage, there's a couple options that they could do. But what they're, regardless, they need the infill overlay to have that granted. So this lot 1, anything, but lot 2, since it's this long kind of flag lot, it would be what would need the infill overlay to approve a flag lot. Flag lots are kind of a last effort that is done before all other alternatives are considered and needed. So staff had a recommendation different from this flag lot. So I'll share that with you. But then we have a gentleman that owns the property right here. That has been using a handshake or a verbal agreement through this property. I'll tell you what staff is suggesting prior to what we heard from Mr. Munoz. So staff's recommendation was to instead do a flag lot. We were recommending having 2 long deep lots that would be approximately 65 feet of frontage each. So it'd be very similar to other homes and lots within the neighborhood. That's what it would be. It would still require the infill overlay, but it would require it on both lots. However, being what I told you just prior about this property in blue, it landlock that parcel. Mr. Monk also owns this lot that he doesn't have on the corner. Hand is vibrating. But it's right there. He owns that one. And so from this lot, he's not able to access the lot in blue. It's very narrow access, so he can access it by walking. He can't get vehicles and things from the front of his property to the rear of this parcel in blue. So staff's recommendation was for these two lots to be considered this way, but there was some potential additional alternatives that we thought of after hearing from Mr. Monk today. And I wrote that here down below, and I'll just read it to you. The property owner immediately adjacent to lot 2, which is outlined in blue, spoke with staff earlier today about maintaining access to their property. Other alternatives for all parties might include a cul-de-sac that could provide access to all parcels, an access agreement along a private drive, such as that flag lot. If this overlay is approved, or perhaps an access agreement in another location. Any access agreements are civil matters that would be between property owners. If agreed to, for example, some sort of access agreement could be recorded on the plat of this subdivision. But that's not something necessarily to be decided tonight by this body. I just wanted to make you aware of it. So with that, staff was recommending approval as we suggested, but like I said, we have provided new information. So any questions on this request?
Can you turn your mic on? Oh. Sorry, Blair.
So we could potentially do.
Just 1 second. Just 1 second.
So this is what's being requested at this time with the flag lot situation there. The possibility of a cul-de-sac would potentially come down the same private drive here where the flag lot would, but it would be wider because the city's minimum width of a private road is 48 feet. That's curb, gutter, sidewalk, both sides. Potentially, staff feels as if we could potentially just do sidewalk on one side, and that could reduce it a little bit more because there's not really much value in a sidewalk along this side, being that it's just the side of this home and not really. But it could potentially come from this side, and gyrate with this thing, this side, and then onto curve this circular cul-de-sac along here, and then terminate somewhere, perhaps in Mr. Monk's property. So again, this. Yes, so I mean, the circular ball end of the cul-de-sac would terminate in lot 2 and Mr. Monk's property. Again, this is an idea. This hasn't been talked about even with Mr. Monk. This is just something that we talked about after hearing his concerns about access this morning.
And that's not the request before you.
I have one question.
We'll have public hearing in just a minute.
Turn it up so I can hear.
Well, we tried that. I don't think that mic is maybe shared. I think it's a little better.
I know this might be irrelevant, but I'm curious, do we usually try to avoid landlocking? Do we know how we ended up with this landlocked piece? And not that it's totally relevant to this project, but it's kind of odd that we do have
I was looking through county parcel data today. I'm not sure. There's some quit claim deeds done in the 90s. There was some done even earlier than that. And I think it was early 70s even, that the property owner to the west here, I believe, owned this piece and quit claimed it to the owner of this one, which was not Mr. Monk at the time. So that's as near as I can gather, just looking through county parcel data records.
We would assume this is an illegal subdivision of land, an improper subdivision of land, not an illegal one, an improper.
We'll get to those in a minute.
Answer your question. I'm Mr. Moore. And my house is right there. I have,
Mr. Monk, you can come to the mic.
a little information about the property. My house sits at 87200 North, which is this property right there that the arrow is on. There is 6 feet on the left side of my house and 6 feet on the right side of my house to get to the back lot. 6 feet, I can't even bring a car through. I do have a garage, a drive-through garage. But a drive-through garage does not allow me to bring a camping trailer per se, anything taller through to the back lot. So I've always accessed through this lot that we're talking about developing. The flag that they have proposed right here, I didn't know that that's what that they had like a flag. I thought it was going to be side by side, and I would have not agreed with that. The flag I'm in agreement with if I could get a written access to my property, because I don't need to be landlocked in there. But there's that vacant lot there that I take care of. Basically, if I get landlocked, it's worth nothing to anybody. And I've been here for 25 years. And I don't think it's right that I should be totally landlocked, you know, because that's a good that's a quarter of an acre lot there. And you got to think of it as your own personal home. If you can't build a driveway out to the side of your house to get your own personal land behind your house, what good is it? You know, that's my only issue with it. I don't have a problem with them developing that lot, putting 2 houses in, and doing it flagged the way it is, as long as they're willing to get me the written access and any future people, because I plan on selling in the future. Obviously, lot number 2, where they stick a house, someone's going to buy that house. That person shouldn't be able to cut off access to people to my property also in the future. And once that's recorded throughout Payson, then I think that's going to be the agreed upon terms for these 2 properties. I mean, if you have any other questions about the details, I can answer any questions, but 6 feet will not allow me enough for even a vehicle. And that's just how it was built in 1971. And I've had the access, I've utilized it, but right now I have nothing on that property. It's just dead grass right now because I've listed my home for sale this year. But in the past, I have had camping trailers, all my vehicles along the backside there. But in the future, if I didn't have this access, there's no way I could put it back there. And when I bought the home, I was actually going to build a 3-bay shop that Payson would have approved. I was going to build a 3-bay shop back on that piece of property because I was in the automotive, kind of veering away from that now. But just to develop that lot, I was going to put a 3-bay shop, and I never did. My question is, if I would have, and we're in this circumstance now, what would happen with that, you know? Just simple things to think about, you know?
Can I ask some clarifying questions on that? So to access that piece of property now, you traverse your neighbor's property.
Yes. Which is
And-
the lot that they're gonna,
Okay, and do you have some sort of an agreement
you know,
or
it's always
anything?
been verbal. They've been kind enough to let me do it for
Okay.
25 years. And that's what I'm asking for, is if they want to develop it like that, the development they have there with the flag lots, that looks great to me. They're willing to put a driveway right along the side right there. And then my gate is right there on that fence line. And as long as I get a written access, I'm happy with approving their development the way that it looks now. But from the letter, before I come and spoke with the planning commission today, I felt that they were gonna try to put two houses side by side like was shown earlier. And that would totally landlock it, and I would not be for that at all. So.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yes, I'm curious on coding. 12-8 on the slides, that was built.
I'm sorry.
When the side boundaries off.
Oh, you're saying on, for example, this lot and this lot. So, but like he said, the homes were built in the 70s.
I know.
I don't know what setbacks were or if there even were any at the time. And also property potentially was subdivided since then that may or may not have followed those. setback requirements.
That's what I'm trying to clear.
Theoretically, yes, Commissioner.
Before you bought it?
Yes, I bought it in 19. Built in 1971.
And you did, basically, that, you had the 6 and 6.
Yeah.
You bought it.
There was a carport on it that I built into a garage fence. And through, you could access the property through the carport. The carport being 9 foot 6 inches tall. Is what the carport was. Now, when I built it into a garage, obviously you put garage doors on. So I can access it with vehicles, trucks, cars, a regular utility trailer. As far as camping trailer, anything like that, height, motor home, anything I've had in the past. I can't access that carport.
So basically, you've changed your carport to a garage. So you've changed the visual aspect of the house. Right?
Yes.
So you actually, with the carport, you could have.
I have a 9 foot 6 to the beam. So how many camping trailers are 9 foot 6?
Less of a hassle. If you would really want, to, when you said you build a 3-bed shop back there, you're expecting your neighbor to give you the accesses.
Well, back in the day, I thought that I could probably purchase this lot.
Yeah. So
I ever have a price on it.
Yes. Well, a representative for the applicant is here. That is all.
Okay, so I want to make sure.
Yes.
I'm sure.
Well, the recommendation was there, but like I said, it's all been turned on its head since this morning. But I figured I would give you the presentation because that's what's in your staff report.
With that, I'd like to step up and give us information from your side before we move to public hearing. Anything you'd like to add to what Michael shared with us, or? Okay. So, this is a public hearing. Public hearing on item 5.2. Second. Try to move it all in favor by yes. Yes. Okay. This public hearing, if you'd like to talk to us about this item, you're welcome to step up to the microphone, give us your name, share your thoughts. Everybody online, maybe I can't see if we got.
There are some, but they haven't indicated if they'd like to speak.
A motion, do I have a second? All in favor by yes? Yes. So commission discussion.
I'd like to know from the applicant what their reaction to this new information is and how that might affect.
Come to the mic to address it, please.
Jonathan Del Castillo. So at first, we wanted to do the flag lot. That was the original design that we submitted for. We were notified from the city that they would rather like the two lots next to each other, because it's frowned upon to do a flag lot. So we're more than open and willing to discuss it with Mr. Monk to still be able to do the flag lot so he can have access to his lot. Of course, with your approval.
Lots, were they the same owner when you purchased those lots? It was the same owner you purchased from, it wasn't one lot for one person, one lot for another person.
Right. They've always been separated on county record, of course. Two different tax IDs. Yeah, when I bought the home, I had the other lot.
Then I guess my next question is, if they're willing to allow access or willing to contribute to improvements, or what are you offering as part of this to continue to have access? Are you offering anything, or are you just asking for access?
No, I would help to.
Because I understand it's a tough spot for you, but I also like, hey, what you're asking for them to give up their property. I'm the microphone. Entertain questions, so.
Oh, we close the public hearing.
Welcome.
Oh, man.
Thanks for being here. Yeah, be careful of the cords.
What I'd like to know is,
Can you state your name?
has there been,
Sir, can you state your name?
oh, Lance Carter. Is there gonna be a road or access road type of houses? How's the houses gonna fit on there? Is one gonna be behind the other, or side by side, or what?
That was behind you. So you watch his cursor there.
So theoretically, there would be a driveway
Yeah,
right here,
okay, you got the drive.
and then there would be a home back here.
You gotta have a driveway to get to the home. What's the big deal? You got the road. How can you shut him off? You've got a road there.
Well, that's what we're considering
Yeah, okay.
today. Yeah.
That's your only question?
Yeah, I just wanted to know how it was gonna fit on there.
The house gonna sit
Yeah, how
facing the second house.
It would face your lot.
across my lot.
It would face your lot,
Right.
and then the other.
So then houses will be
Faces
facing east, right?
So this house, where the number 2 is, the home would likely face east, correct?
Okay, so where's the other one? It'll be
This
east too,
home-
won't it, or?
This home would face the street.
Oh,
It would
okay,
face
so you got
north.
one going east and one going north.
Yeah.
That way,
Mhm.
okay, so gotta have still the road get down to the other house. That's a no-brainer. Okay, thank you. All right. Other commissioners? We talked about.
Basically, submissions, correct? If they get a cul-de-sac instead of. Well, you said we cul-de-sac. My question is, like, we need to cul-de-sac, we're just giving permission. Use that driveway, what's the?
Well, I think that's a really good point to say. What we're really considering today is the infill overlay request. Right? We're not necessarily doing a subdivision today. And so the infill overlay request, if that was approved, then the specifics of how it all lays out could then be worked out, right? But the only way that we could do that is if you recommend approval of the infill overlay. So that's really the motion before you.
That's the action you have to have.
Right.
That's the action. That's the action that was requested. That's the action you have to have.
And I would also say to the idea of access and agreements and things like that, at this point, that's a civil issue, right? The city is not going to get involved in that particular issue, other than to say if there is an agreement, if there is access, then we would be happy to work in the subdivision process on how to maintain that, plus provide a really good way to lay this out. But I would encourage you all to stay on the matter at hand, which is the infill overlay.
We're just trying to end.
Yeah, to understand how that's going to work, right? That's really important.
Another question for you. You said you had your house up for sale this year. Now, are you going to sell that lot behind you with it, or what are you doing?
Yeah, that's all one parcel. It's not one parcel on county records. They come together. Yes. Well, it's sold as the whole property. Now, what you're talking about, a cul-de-sac, if you were to put a cul-de-sac in there, that would technically mean that we could put another house back there on that lot, a third house behind, right?
If you had access to a public street, possibly.
Then there should be a building another third house back in there, but I think it's too tight to be able to do that by speaking with Mr. Munoz here. That's kind of not what we're trying to do.
Correct.
Mr. Munoz has always been interested in this lot from me for development purposes.
And so those are the types of things that can be further worked on in the subdivision process, right?
Okay, so now if he buys this, now, areas where we've got 4 houses with a common drive. Now, this also contains something like that for him. That's something that could be worked out later.
Well, that's what
But to answer, there's a possibility that could be a private drive.
I mean, you've got one main sewer line instead of a whole big cul-de-sac. I mean, these guys share a common driveway. And they can do it.
So right now, just to quickly talk about
I'm just trying to.
this piece of property, Mr. Monk's southern piece of property, right? You could not at this point build on anything on that piece of property because it.
Nothing residential.
Correct.
You could build something. It was totally.
Technically, no. Technically, no, because it is currently its own lot. So you'd have to, the primary use would have to be residential. So to really utilize that piece of property, you would really have to eliminate that property line in between the two, right? In order for it to be an accessory structure, you have to have a primary structure on the lot. So those are things that would have to be explored as well. Yes.
It's very, you're gonna have to go back in history to find out where.
I don't want to comment on things that happened in the 70s. I've heard stories of the 70s, and so we're just going to leave it at that. Some of us were thoughts. We hadn't come yet, but we were thoughts.
I would say the flag lots.
So further discussion as far as my concern, and my thinking on this is that my opinion, I always is a good use of this farm. It utilizes the property which does these kind of areas.
So
I am not a big fan of the city's choice, but I would rather see the driveway flag lot type thing than the two narrow lots. I hate narrow lots.
So if I may make a suggestion, you could possibly do an amended motion or some sort of amended statement that would say, for example, that you'd be willing to give positive recommendation for approval for this infill overlay. And then that with the statement being that the overlay could be used for reduced frontage and or reduced lot sizes. Therefore, allow the applicant and potential adjacent property owners to work together and see what's going to work out.
That would be my
Overlay in this area, so. Or any other comments first?
I move that we recommend the individual option over parcel 2, and that the overlay allows for lot size and or
Setbacks.
One other thing Robert said, it also does allow for reduced setbacks, which is a
setbacks.
tool as well for this
Which
situation.
it's going to be critical depending on how. Setbacks would be an addition.
I'd second that amendment. All in favor by yes? Yes. Any opposed? Okay, I will move on to the council.
Thank you.
Now we go back to 5.1. A public hearing for right to idea on behalf of Maverick for to apply that one zone to parcel 692. Unlike industrial zone.
She's not.
No, just go forward.
So she contacted me, said she was in bad traffic and may not be here in time. So hopefully I can answer any questions you have on this subject. So this image here is an artist's rendition of what they potentially want to put on the property if the zone change is done.
I'm pretty sure we've all seen them.
Yep, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, never good for 10 years, and then if we don't make it.
If you want to see this version, head over to Mapleton. It's almost identical. Yeah.
So this area, I'm going to zoom in on it. So it's going to be on the north end of Main Street, which is somewhere in this vicinity. Let me zoom in for you. So this is the parcel here. It is owned by a gentleman by the name of Mark Weldon, and he has 1, 2, 3, 4 lots here. You might notice that there is a cul-de-sac that runs into the center here now. So the request would be by the applicant to adjust the property line. This is all one parcel right here now, but they would adjust the property line to here. And therefore, the lot that's back on this side will become bigger, but they only want to purchase this 3.93 acre parcel. And so this request is only for a zone change on this proposed parcel. So some potential findings on this, the following, this already borders some commercial property. The realignment of the street is something that is coming in the future. We don't know when that is, but with the realignment of Main Street, this could be a good transition area from commercial to industrial. I already talked a little bit about I-15 freeway. There. And the applicant will to meet any standards that would be required to be first with Main Street Road and also in close proximity to that interchange there. Staff has made the applicant aware of this realignment of Main Street, and the applicant is still wanting and willing to proceed with this request, and therefore, if granted, they would want to build this. With that being said, staff is comfortable offering a favorable recommendation for approval. Don't change from the I-1 light industrial to the S1 special. So, any questions on that?
I would just note that this is the zoning that this parcel used to be.
This has changed in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so what I understand from the conversations, this remainder area is just going to move the boundary line to where this hard line is right here.
And lot 2 is going to get bigger, whatever lot it is.
Whatever lot it is to the west. That's what I understood from conversations with that.
We don't know the height. So it will still be. I know, but you got your other roads that are changing off the interstate and then coming on 9600. So you have a general idea.
Correct. And
That's what I'm saying. I just, well, we have a general idea. I'm just worried that will affect this lot, making the size to affect it.
So this image is not the greatest to show that, but Main Street will terminate somewhere in here, is the plan. And then south down near McDonald's, it will go under the freeway and come back over on 900 South, which this road connects into 900 South.
north 96.
Yeah, so at County Road 9600. So the Main Street will actually come and curve into that 900 South or 9600. Then the existing Main Street would stay, but it would dead end before the interchange.
And go back in and then go back into the veterans home.
I mean, yes, Main Street's going to remain. It's just not going to be a through street past the intersection.
That's the interstate
After the
at that point.
Correct.
It will be later,
So
further to the southwest.
the preferred route, Jonathan, what is it? Is it going to be 3300 west?
35, 33. Yeah, 3550.
3550 the preferred alternative for the road, the truck traffic and traffic that is going on Main Street will come from Main Street, curve onto 9600 and then up and then back to Main Street. I know. Yep. So that's
This area will be accessible coming south on the freeway from the frontage road right into the other surface roads
Correct.
to the north and east of this intersection.
Correct. That's correct. Essentially, new lanes are going to be coming like this, right? And then they'll be able to go north here.
And to the north of that,
you want me to stop sharing and then I'll share like a Google map or something.
okay. So got the sewer treatment plant, and the power plant right here.
Mhm.
To the north of that is gonna have another road come off of the frontage road, tying into the fourth
Correct.
onto Main Street. Yeah, big cul-de-sac on the way. Around the roundabout. That's the proposal right now. Around that area.
Yeah, so a little bit further north on this map. So basically, it's going to go through Geneva Rock.
Split the road in between.
Correct.
You can see this little piece right here, I think it's already dedicated to the city.
Mhm. Yep. Yep.
You guys, I've gone through the road. That's where it will tie in road coming off of the northern exchange. Right there, then. The two lots. All the section there. So, you're out there.
Welcome. Thanks for
Joanne, I
being.
assume, right?
Yeah, I'm joking.
So this is Joanne Gibb, and she is representing the zone change request. We've been talking about the project, but if the planning commission has any questions for her, she's.
I'd like to hear if she has anything to say.
We appreciate you. Probably city, yeah. A lot longer than I thought.
Especially at this time of day.
Yeah, if there's any questions or any concerns about the project.
One question. We talked about the remaining portion of the lot. Is that just a boundary line adjustment and then a lot behind it will acquire that? That's what we understood.
Wasn't going to be disturbed. That's what the job's doing.
Motion for the public hearing. All in favor, by yes? Yes. All right. So this is a public hearing. Questions about the size of the microphone sharing pump. Project far enough away from people that notice it's don't go very far. Motion to close the public hearing. All in favor, by yes? Yes.
I think this is a good location.
We are home to adventure.
Because I know in this area that'd be very helpful. You have a lot of industrial traffic, and so.
Both the commercial court and.
Great, those are both good things, yes, location.
I can share a site plan. if you like. So the site plan shows the diesel pumps here in the southern portion of the lot. The non-diesel ones there in the center in front of the building, and then parking and some accesses from 1130 north there.
So there's no access on the main street.
There's
Just the one.
Second that one. Second, Commissioner Emily, all in favor, by yes? Opposed? Council, you made a long drive for a 5-minute meeting.
I have nothing, Robert. Do you have any?
Yeah, I'm just gonna, can I share this real quick? Commissioners, I just sent you an email that has some information about this upcoming the 2024 APA conference for Utah. It's going to be held at the Utah Valley Convention Center, so really close, actually. There are certain classes that are specifically designed for citizen planners like yourselves, Planning Commission, and if you would like to attend this, I would be happy to pay registration and allow you to go. We would encourage you to do that. I think there's some good information. Whether you want to attend 1 or 2 days is up to you or whatever. But if you would like to, I sent a link to this page. You can kind of look over the proposed agenda and things like that. But if you'd like to go, just let me know and I can get you registered. It will be October 10th and 11th. And so have a look at that. Again, I don't know if they've posted the agenda here. I know that they've sent one out, so I'll follow up with that email as well.
I just don't see one.
Yeah.
At this point, it's an evolving agenda until it gets a lot closer.
Yeah. But I'll send out the email that I put on that is their Saturday. So I think they provide lunch. Yeah, so I would recommend taking advantage of the proximity. That's place.
But there is 4,000 stairs.
The parking is close now.
Parking may be better because they finally.
They finished the structures. Anyway, the only other thing was just expressing appreciation for the way that you sort of show up and come and hash through things. We really appreciate that. The way that you have thoughtful conversation. Really government at its finest. So, thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor, yes? Yes.
Oh, yes. 2 weeks is July 24th, Pioneer Day, so we will not be meeting. If you guys want to enjoy some fireworks somewhere, whatever. Yeah.